Everyone is a loser in the Minecraft movie, but I think that's kind of the point. Welcome back, everybody. Hello, my name is Amanda. You might know me as Vamp, and I'm here today to talk to you about a Minecraft movie. And I thought this title was goofy when I first heard this title. Well, not the Minecraft movie, but having watched it, a Minecraft movie, I think actually fits. Before I get into this, I'm going to tell you the synopsis, but before I get into that, I just want to remind you, like I said at the beginning of this video, everyone is a loser in this movie, but I think that's kind of the point of it. So keep that in mind. All these characters kind of suck. But that's the whole thesis of the film, so it's important that you understand that. Also, heads up, spoilers in effect, although really, I think you could have this one spoiled and still go in and potentially get what you want out of it and enjoy it if that's what ends up happening for you. So I don't think spoilers are really going to ruin your experience or necessarily make it better, just FYI. All right, synopsis. So the story, we start with Steve. Steve as a child yearned for the mines. He grows up, he becomes an adult, he gets a job. He realizes working in an office he's not happy, and it's because he's not in the mines. So he goes back to the mines. While he's in the mines, he finds this cube and this earth crystal, and he combines them, and it opens up a gate, and it takes him to the Minecraft world. And he realizes that this is where he feels joy because his creativity is now boundless. He can make whatever he wants here, and he loves it. He thrives until he finds the Nether one day. When he finds the Nether, he finds out about the piglins, and the piglins, they have no creativity, and they want to take over the overworld. They want to invade, and they basically find out that he has this device that he found in the mines. They can use it, so he sends it back home to Earth with his pal, his wolf, who he made his loyal pet, Dennis, and gets it hid under his bed. Unfortunately, because Steve is trapped in Piglin jail, he ends up losing all of his stuff. It gets repossessed, and it goes into a storage locker and gets sold to Garett Garrison, who is played by Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa puts this stuff on display in his video game store, and as a result, it gets found by Henry, a kid who just moved to this town, and he and Jason Momoa's character Garrett and a few other people basically get sucked into this portal and go to the Minecraft world, where Steve has recently been released from jail. He's trying to now find the orb that they have, which brought them back there, which Steve initially found. And together, they all decide that they don't want to give this to the piglins because it'll allow them to rise up and conquer everything and ruin everything. And so they're trying to work together to stop the piglins from invading. Basically, that's the story. It culminates in a big fight. Every character gets a little wrap up as to what happened to them after, and there is a post-credit scene. But the story isn't really important here. There are three things that I think are more important when it comes to this film. There's also some issues that I had with this film. I will talk about those more at the end of the review, so hold on to your horses. For now, we're going to talk about some things that I enjoyed, at least moderately. Let's talk about those things. The three major important parts of this film are the comedy, the Minecraft references, and the characters. Let's talk first about the comedy. So, I don't think this comedy will be for everyone, but I think if you know who this director is, Jared Hess, you will understand why this movie is the way it is. Jared Hess, for those that don't know, is the director of films like Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, which also stars Jack Black, and has also done some work on Last Man on Earth. So to give you an idea of what type of humor we're dealing with here, that's the type of humor. I would describe the humor as being absurd, self-deprecating, dry humor. It's kind of got a bit of a British edge to it. Probably not for everyone, to be fair, but for those of you that like that type of humor, I think you will enjoy at least elements of this film. To me, it feels like an old school comedy movie. I don't know if you remember the days when we'd go to the movie theaters and you'd say to yourself, what do I want to watch at the movies today? Do I want to watch a romance? Do I want to watch a drama? Do I want to watch a horror film? Do I want to watch a comedy? And there were films that were just comedies. The whole point of them was to make you laugh, was to make jokes. Were all of them successful? No, but they were all comedy films. And these days, a lot of films will utilize comedy, but I wouldn't describe them as being a straight up comedy film. We haven't had one of those in a while. I mean, Napoleon Dynamite is basically from an era of film that is well known for having just these kind of insane comedy movies. That's what they were all about. Now, it doesn't mean that they weren't saying anything else. I think Napoleon Dynamite has some other things to say, but that is the primary function of the film is the comedy. And I kind of liked that it was a bit of like an old school comedy vibe, because I do miss those movies, although I think in today's market, it would be hard to sell them, because I also feel like we live in a world now where people are just more easily offended by things, and comedy sometimes is on that level where it can be offensive. Now, not all comedy needs to be offensive for it to be good. Some of my favorite comics are actually not people that deal in any kind of humor that I would describe as being offensive, with my favorite comedians being people like James Acaster and Dimitri Martin. But that being said, that is something that is usually pulled into old school comedy films, and that the films of those eras, you know, really focused on, which is also why they don't usually age as well, because they're kind of a time capsule for what we thought was funny at the time. This movie doesn't really make any jokes that are, you know, controversial though, so it's kind of doing old school comedy, but I think trying to keep it, because it's family friendly, for everyone. Now, whether or not you find it funny will just depend on your type of humor. Mostly the story is here to propel us through the jokes, but also through the Minecraft references. So let's talk about that briefly. So if you are a Minecraft fan, I personally am a casual fan. I've done my time in the mines. I'm a YouTuber. I have Minecrafted, obviously. I used to work at a channel called Top 10 Gaming, where I would talk about video games all the time. And one of those video games that I would talk a lot about is Minecraft. So I had to get into it and really understand a lot of elements of Minecraft, do research on it, play it, to discuss it. So I have done my time. It's not my favorite game or anything, but I do enjoy me some Minecraft every now and then. And this movie actually kind of made me want to play some Minecraft, so maybe I will do that at some point soon. But it makes a lot of references. We got lava chicken, we got flint and steel, we got the nether, we got piglins, we got villagers, we got endermen, we got creepers, we got skeletons, we got survival mode, we have chicken jockey, we got basically everything here. There are short days, they make a joke about that. There's diamond armor, there's redstone, remember redstone? We go through all of these fun references, and I think they do the references justice. I also love how they dealt with people getting killed, or not like people getting killed, but creatures getting killed, things lives ending, things being unalived, literally a line they say in the movie, which I'm sure some people will find that line really cringe. I gotta say, as a YouTuber who has had to come up with creative ways to talk about death in videos at certain times based on certain content I was making and restrictions on the platform, I thought it was funny. Because I know what it's like to have to like say things like unalive. Although I actively have tried to not say that in a video because I think it sounds so dumb. And it does sound dumb, which is why I think some people are gonna find it to be a cringe joke as well. But it's a cool little reference, and when people did get unalived, when things die in this world, they are transformed into basically resources like meat. This is a very dark humor joke, but it's also a good way to allow people to die without it being too intense in terms of the rating that you have to have for this movie. So it's both funny but like really dark humor, and I kind of appreciated that. I thought it was funny anyways. I think this movie is very similar to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, when it comes to FNAF, I'm actually more of a FNAF fan than I am a Minecraft fan, and I actually really liked the FNAF movie. I even dressed up as Vanny to go see it, so I really liked that movie. But I also understand from a, you know, cinema perspective, as someone that also loves really good films that are very artistic, it's not high cinema, it's not peak cinema, just like this film. It's not peak cinema, but I don't think it really needs to be. So I think Minecraft will be enough for a lot of fans. I mean, it's the level of this McDonald's orange juice that I got in my Minecraft meal. It's like this. It's references and stuff. A collection of references. I think people will appreciate it. However, for people that are really deep into the lore, I don't know if it'll be enough. So even for Minecraft fans, I imagine there's going to be some division, but as a casual Minecraft fan, I liked it in terms of the references. And finally, the last part that I want to focus on in terms of the three things that are the major elements of the film is characters. Like I said, a lot of them are losers, including our villain, Malgosha. Malgosha, she just wanted to dance, but her dad told her dancing's silly, and so now she just wants to rule everyone and take all the gold and says you can't be creative because it's bad. And the whole idea of the film is that being a loser, but wanting these things that are outside of the check boxes of life, there's nothing wrong with kind of being a loser. and embracing that and just letting yourself go for the things that make you happy, because it's more important to be happy in life than to be successful or, you know, deemed successful because you're checking off these boxes of life. Like, who decides what makes life worthwhile? It's okay to be a loser. In fact, being a loser means that sometimes you're just a more creative person. And I think that element of the film, which also honestly feels very in line with the director's typical MO here, makes a lot of sense. I think that it works well with the world of Minecraft and this idea of just creativity, and also this idea of, you know, if you're big into Minecraft, I think sometimes there is stigma that comes with that. I mean, I think that it does a good job of just embracing this idea of it's okay to think outside of the box and maybe not be considered, you know, the most conventionally like successful businessman, live in my life, have so many friends, go out for coffees with people thing. I think the fact that it's anti that actually kind of works. It's not peak cinema, okay? It knows that. It parodies itself throughout the entire film. It makes every single character in this film a loser, a joke. But at the end of the day, these are also people that end up finding what they want and getting what they want through embracing the sides of themselves that make them seem like a loser to the world at large. And in doing that, they find who they are and they get to be happy in the end. I think a highlight of this film as well is the connection that we get, the bromance that we get between Steve, played by Jack Black, and Garett Garrison, Gargar, played by Jason Momoa. These two on screen together, I think, are just having a great time. It shows. I had a great time watching them, and I think that that really worked for the movie. Also, Jennifer Coolidge as Vice Principal Marlene, who is the vice principal at Henry's school and is recently divorced. She is just hilarious at all times in this movie. The funniest joke, for some reason for me, is her out to dinner with a villager who has wandered into the earthly realm through the portal, and who she hits with her car, and then she takes him out to dinner to make up for it so he won't sue her. They go out on this date, and at one point, she's offered some food by a server, and she just says no. And the way she said no, the timing on what she said no, wasn't what was being said. It was just the way it was said was so funny, I died. I don't even know why that's that funny to me, but it was really funny. If you don't think it's funny when you watch it, then maybe we don't have the same sense of humor, and that's also okay. I will say that there are some weaker points to the film, the story being one of them. There just is a lot of telling instead of showing, and because of that, the stakes don't really feel real. So I mean, in the third act in the movie, I fell asleep for a little bit, Duck fell asleep for a while in the third act, and I think that was because we didn't really feel invested into this final fight it's building up to. Like, I just don't care enough about what's at stake here to really need to watch it. And also, to be fair, we had been working pretty much non-stop for the last 48 hours, so we were really tired when we saw this movie, so it's not entirely the movie's fault. I feel like if I were more awake, it would have been easier for me to not fall asleep. But I did my best, okay? The third act just isn't as strong. It is what it is. I think for some people as well, the fan service here is going to be a negative. I think it's going to be seen as a weaker point of the film, because some people will say there's too much of it, and some people will say there's too much of it without any depth. I do think the people that made this movie actually like Minecraft, and I do think they tried to do right by the fans in the film, but for some folks, it won't be enough. I know I've seen fans of Minecraft that have said they loved it, and fans of Minecraft who have said they've hated it. So I think there's going to be a divide for a lot of things in this movie. I think the fact that it feels also just very ridiculous and very formulaic, and not all the elements are top tier, are going to be reasons people don't like it. I think there's going to be people that hate it and people that love it. And then there's going to be me in the middle. Overall rating, 3 out of 5. It was just okay. I think the humor was really good. The fact that it made me cry laughing, I had to give it a 3 out of 5 for that, because I genuinely laughed so hard at some moments. I think the story is not good, but I also don't think it really needs to have a strong story. I don't know. Maybe that's a controversial opinion as a casual Minecraft fan. I just think that there is a lot of lore in Minecraft you could play with, but I don't think this needs to be that heavy of a movie. It can be light. It's about a sandbox game. It's fine. So personally for me, I think it was all right. I've also seen people critiquing it as a kids movie because they say, like, shouldn't we expect more for kids? But at the same time, I think just like how as adults we have a variety of degrees of different types of films, level of quality that we enjoy. Same thing for kids. This film is just okay. Not every kids movie needs to be peak cinema. Not every adult movie needs to be peak cinema. Range is important. Not everything can be a 5 out of 5. I actually would hate it if everything was a 5 out of 5. I like having movies that sometimes I really detest, and some movies that are just, it's just all right. Will I go back and watch it? Probably not. But it was a fine time, it was fun, and it has some good scenes and some good jokes. That's it for me. Let me know what you think of the Minecraft movie down in the comments below. Also, if you didn't know, I like reviewing video game movies. In fact, I did it with Mortal Kombat Annihilation. We also reviewed the first Mortal Kombat, but if you haven't seen this review, oh my gosh, please watch it. It's so funny. It was an experience watching that film. I'll see you next time, and until then, friends, stay nerdy. Bye!